I mean, I know everybody got, it makes you think, hey, these guys hate each other. And, yeah, but I don't think it's good. Just think of one of those cans catches, anybody in the face. A photographer reported just a fan kind of, watching it. It could have been a disaster. Somebody could have really got hurt. So, you can't think it's good, in my opinion.
And it's under new management kind of, too, with the UFC. The new ownership basically has barely taken over as the head of the UFC. What do you think they make of this kind of melee a little bit, the new ownership? Well,
I don't know if we've had bottle throwing wars before, but obviously things have gone off before. I think they know what they were buying, but they can't be happy about it. Not the bottle throwing, it's fine. Just taking the showing up late thing. I actually have no trouble with Nate leaving when he left, only because obviously, that's gamesmanship. I don't know whether Connor was truly late or whether he was, trying to, rattle Nate or whatever. But taking off a few minutes after he shows up after being 30 minutes late, okay, I mean, you can pull that move. And that's gamesmanship. But what followed is just not acceptable. It's not good for anybody.
So, focusing more on the fighters themselves, what do you think will set Diaz apart from McGregor in this fight? What do you think his advantages are, where he's really going to push McGregor to the point again where he might get the victory over him?
I've gone back and forth on this in my mind. I wrote a blog saying basically, did we just see him crack a little bit? Because that's not his style to go off like that. He always prides himself as being, the witty. He slices people up with his tongue before he does it in the ring. He wears the expensive suits. I know this is going to come out as an insult to the Diaz brothers, but I don't really even mean it that way. But I won't take that down to that level because he went farther than that. I mean, because he was doing most of the throwing. So, but something has got under his skin. I don't know. It could be him realizing that, a loss here is really bad for him. He agreed to take this fight at 170 pounds, which, in my opinion, having covered this sport a long time, was, again, not a great move. I mean, they fought the first one at 170, but they should have met in the middle for this one. I would have said, hey, I fight at 145, right? You fight at 160 or 170, let's fight at 160. Make Nate come down a little bit. I tried to get him to come down, but no, he's very, confident guy, so he's like, I just think he's maybe a little nervous about it. And I'm not saying he can't win, but I've gone back and forth on who would win, guys, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But after what I saw Wednesday, it's the first time I thought, I think Nate beats him.
So
I think he might have overamped a little bit.
Mm-hmm. At this point, with these two fighters, just kind of because with Diaz, he really likes to get into the head of his opponent. McGregor kind of does the same thing, but like you said, McGregor seems as though he's kind of cracked a little bit. Who has more to lose at this point if they take a loss in this fight?
Oh, this one's easy. Thank you. I like easy ones. McGregor, what does Nate have to lose? I thought one of McGregor's best psychological points he's done is to keep bringing up that, if he wins this fight, there'll be a third one. Because in a very twisted way, not even twisted way, but in a very true way, losing this fight would maybe make Nate more money than winning it. Because who is he going to make more money with than Conor McGregor, right?
Yeah, true.
And if he loses, there'll be a third fight. There'll definitely be a third fight. Maybe not immediately, because McGregor's under a lot of pressure to go defend his crown at 145. But he'll definitely fight him again. So Nate has nothing to lose. If he wins, he wins. And if he loses, he just takes he sits around and waits for McGregor and gets a lot of money for the rematch.
Yeah.
But I don't think he wants to do that because the Diaz brothers do love flipping off authority, And I think he would truly enjoy ruining Dana White's plans for Conor McGregor. They like doing that.
Yeah,
I think he'll be
the party crashers
and doing everything he can to win the fight. And he looks in great shape. I don't know if you guys saw the weigh-in.
Mm-hmm.
They both looked in great shape, but there was rumors. I mean, people were trying to press rumors that Nate was walking around at 200 last week and 200 pounds, and that looks ridiculous to me because he was so cut. You can kind of tell. Mm-hmm. I know you guys watch sports. You can kind of tell when somebody cuts weight quick, just burns it all, and when somebody has, toned themselves into shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I know the last one, McGregor looked a little bloated. I thought Nate looked pretty cut. I thought he looked good. I thought they both looked good. They both looked good. But I'm saying I don't think he was running around at 200 pounds a week ago because I don't think he would have gotten shaved that quick. So, anyway, that's my take. Is clearly Conor has everything to lose. His whole thing is based on how great he is. Mm-hmm. And and I guess he came up with enough excuses if he loses the first one. And I had been leaning to him because, I think overall, like career-wise, he's the better fighter. And maybe with both guys having a full camp, knowing who they're going to fight, that would matter. And it's still May. But after Wednesday, I'm beginning to think maybe Nate's in his head enough to do this again.
Scott Linesburgh's joining us on KXVS Sports tonight. Dustin Brakebil alongside Pierce Cornejo. The weigh-in, you talked about the weigh-in today. It was kind of interesting, too, because on stage at the weigh-in was not only Dana White, but the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Scott, do you think that was a promoting thing, basically, from Dana, or do you think Dana actually wanted these guys up on stage because he thought something more was going to break out?
Great question. I think it had nothing to do with Dana White. Mm-hmm. I think, I don't know if you guys heard earlier today, the arena, not the UFC, but the arena banned the entourages from both fighters from the arena.
Wow.
And it's going to be on fight night, too. You have to be a approved, licensed cornerman to be out there. So I think after the bottle throwing stuff, they just didn't want any more crap. The arena doesn't want it because of legal ramifications. So I think that was maybe, in my opinion, is that probably may not have anything to do with Dana. I mean, I think they don't want any trouble. Not that kind of. I mean, you get the screaming, but you don't want that kind of trouble. Yeah. Some people I may think you're kind of over, extending how bad that was. But only because somebody because someone didn't get cracked in the head with a can of Monster drink. If that would have happened, you would have had lots of problems. First of all, somebody could have really got hurt.
It'd be
you guys are in, I know, Dustin, if you guys are in your 20s, you probably pop 8 energy drinks a day and stuff, right? But those cans are kind of heavy, right? I mean, they can hurt somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially if you have, Conor McGregor winging it.
No.
But, so I think that I think that was more about the arena and, the hotels or whatever. They don't want that again.
Kind of on a lighter note, let me ask you about the other guy from the 209, Chris Avila, the 2011 Lincoln graduate. How do you think he's gonna fare against Artem Lobov? I know he's a sparring partner, a training partner of Conor McGregor, but his record really isn't that good. I think he's lost his last 2 fights. How do you think he's gonna fare up against him?
Actually, 5-2. You can't look at the MMA, by the way, as you do boxing. Losses are more frequent because if you fight more, and then losing a fight like in boxing is a bigger deal than it is in MMA. I mean, look at Nate. Nate's 20-10 or whatever he is. He's lost a lot of fights. I mean, most of those were really close fights, but he, to his credit, has fought a really good opponent. I mean, he's fought some of the best there is out there and made a good show of himself. But to Chris Avila, I think this is a great opportunity for him. Now, I have not had the opportunity to watch him fight. I mean, I saw there's some stuff of him on YouTube. I know he's fought a lot of casino-level fights, which aren't bad. Like Jackson Rancheria has like a global knockout series they do with some decent fighters. You know, not world-class national organization guys, but so, you know, he's fought some okay guys. I just don't know what to expect in that. He's fighting a real veteran there, right? I mean, the guy's been in the cage a lot, so I don't know. I'm really interested to see. I know I'm not really answering your questions and what I expect because I don't really know. I am looking forward to seeing him, though, you know. I mean, I haven't really gotten to see him live yet, so I'm kind of looking forward to see what happens.
Yeah, and that fight's tomorrow on FS1. You can watch that on free TV at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's go from one local kid to another local kid. I know you're kind of interesting about this because I've seen your Twitter recently, Scott. Aaron Judge from Linden High School, the former three-sport athlete at Linden in the Motherlode League, made his debut last week, and it was a kind of, well, it was pretty awesome, actually. Back-to-back home runs by two rookies in a row for the Yankees. Aaron Judge, the big 6'7", 275 DH/right fielder for the Yankees. What did you make of his debut, and how do you think he's done so far?
Well, let's go in his greatest. I keep hearing greatest hook, a greatest claim of fame of all is that in his senior year in high school at Linden, he was and this is true, he was the Motherlode League MVP in baseball, football, and basketball.
Wow.
Yeah, and as somebody who went to high school in the Motherlode League, he's a legend in that conference.
Yeah, well, I mean, you fix that. I mean, when you're that big. But and he's a great athlete, and, you know, I will admit, his dad, I don't know if you know Wayne Judge, but he coached at Linden and Franklin basketball, so he's a longtime coach around here and a good guy, so... hey, you know, he looks for real. I mean, and everybody thought he was for real. Like, as I don't know if it's been stated, but I follow the Yankees a little bit. They're my hometown team. And when they were talking trades for the last year or so, guys, the two names that you could not get from them were Aaron Judge and the pitcher, Luis Severino. Those are the two guys that were on a no-touch list. So they thought they had something special there. Now, his first at-bat tonight, he struck out, by the way. But he's going to strike out some because he's a big guy, and we know that, I mean, Major League pitchers are going to start throwing him a lot of breaking stuff because a guy like that's going to eat fastballs, so he's going to have his ups and downs. But he certainly looks like a real, doesn't he? He looks so calm at this point of his career up there. He doesn't look jittery at all. He looks, you know, but I'm saying this is no surprise. People have thought he's the real deal. He was a first-round draft pick. He was on the no-trade list where you can't have him no matter what list. I mean, people thought he'd be really good. And, you know, so it's no surprise that it looks like it's going to be true.
Do you think he's...
Isn't he really going?
Do you think he's going to be one of those...
And he has to adjust to Major League pitching.
Sorry about that. Do you think he's going to be one of those new era guys who really kind of brings back that just those brute guys that would just hit 40 to 45 home runs a year, be on the way up side of 100 RBIs a year? Do you think he'll be able to go into that certain tier at some point soon in his career?
You know, I won't go that far yet because I think, like I said, he's going to get a lot of outside pitches. He's going to get a lot of breaking balls. What I've actually liked about him is that he seems like he has no trouble going with a pitch. One of the most impressive things I saw, I think it was his third game, R.A. Dickey struck him out with a knuckleball, which is no shame. It happens to a lot of people. But then his next at-bat, you know, that he saw him, first knuckleball he saw, he wrapped it into the gap, going the other way. So I think his mentality is to take the pitch given to him. Now, he's a big guy, so he's going to hit gaps, and he's going to hit balls that's out that other people wouldn't. But he's also got kind of long arms, and, you know, if he tries to hit 45 home runs a year, he's going to strike out 150 times.
Scott Linesburgh joining us on KXVS Sports tonight. We go from Aaron Judge to the person he took in the lineup, basically spot Arod. What did you make of the whole Alex Rodriguez controversy? I haven't got your take on this. Do you think Joe Girardi and the Yankees did him wrong, or was it just basically what Alex has been overall his career as a Yankee?
You know, my take on it is that it was a made-up controversy. Here's the deal. My personal thought is and I know this is not how it is, but as the season starts, you should forget about money. And people, like if you put a guy making a lot of money on the bench, he wasn't hitting, he shouldn't have been playing. Hey, you know, it isn't like they didn't give a chance to the first few months. They batted him third, they batted him fifth, they batted him sixth, they let him hit, he wasn't hitting. Right? I mean, he lost it kind of quick. I think, you know, he's 41 almost. He pretty much lost it. I mean, last year for being 40, he had a heck of a year. But sometimes guys just lose their... He just couldn't catch up to a major league fastball anymore. And that became apparent. He couldn't. That inside fastball that he used to turn on and destroy with his strong wrist, he couldn't get to it anymore. I mean, that's what happened. And it is at age, it probably is age. The guy is at the end of the road. So, should they have let him play that whole weekend or something? They could have. I mean, I don't know. In some hands, here's the deal. I know a lot of people were thinking, hey, give him the chance to get to 700, right? Here's the deal. Sorry, I know I'm saying here's the deal so much. I don't... Too much. But I don't. How much does it matter? Because he's not going to the Hall of Fame at all for a while. It's a scandal. If Bonds isn't in, he's not going in.
Nope.
So what does it matter? I mean, hey, I don't hate Alex as a Yankee fan. You know, they won a World Series. They probably wouldn't have won without him, and they certainly made the playoffs that they wouldn't have made without him. But he also embarrassed the game and the franchise with his actions. And I know he apologized for them, and that's great. And I didn't want him booed at the end or anything like that. I was fine with the way it went down. You know, I mean, but if he wasn't going to play, you know, I think they just got sick of answering questions about him not playing. Because he shouldn't have been playing, right? Am I wrong? I mean, he was hitting 199 at 201, you know. Should that guy be playing?
No.
Not
a DH, especially. If you're the best defensive, like, second baseman in the league and you're hitting 205 or 210, maybe you bat the guy ninth and you accept it. But if his one job is to hit, and he was the DH, if his one job is to hit and he can't get over the Mendoza line, you can't play him.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see how he embarrassed that organization, the way his actions were. And kind of just transitioning, speaking about embarrassing actions, what do you think of Ryan Lochte's apology based on his actions out in Rio where he, quote-unquote, got robbed but ended up being a fabricated story?
Yeah, that changes every... You know, I'll tell you guys where I am. I'm enjoying our conversation so much. And I'm sitting in my backyard with my cell phone, watching the sun go down, talking to you guys, which makes this a perfect evening. But because I have not been at a computer in the last 5 minutes, Lord knows what has changed. Because this story has been changing by the minute.
Yeah.
Now, am I correct that the last one is he's admitting he wasn't truthful, but he still got robbed? Is that what he's still claiming?
Actually, no. It's there's basically the whole robbing. It was a scam. It was nothing. Basically, what he did, he just destroyed the gas station, messed up their sign, and different damages to other cars and different parts of the gas station. And actually, it was reported that he paid the gas station $400 for the damage done to its sign, and then initially he offered $50. He didn't even want to give the $400. He only offered $50. So he didn't get robbed. He admitted to it, and he was basically apologizing for his behavior, saying it's traumatic to be out late with your friends in a foreign country. But he basically, didn't get robbed.
Thanks for the update. You did that very well.
Thank you.
And I want to say that that's changed since I walked away from this and went, because before I went on with you guys, I knew we'd talk about Aaron Judge, so I wanted to see if he had hit yet. So that has changed, I think, since the last time I looked. Look, I mean, this is an embarrassment. The bottom line is, I know the Rio Olympics has had its share of problems. But you know what? You're a guest in another country. He broke the law, right? I think he basically, did he make a police report? I'm still a little vague on that.
Yeah, he actually made it was basically a false police report, and they were trying to basically
he filed a false police report. So whatever they want to do with him, I'm kind of fine.
Actually,
I mean, they're not going to
got another
put him
update.
in jail or anything.
The U.S. Olympic Committee, they actually he's just got suspended indefinitely.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
He got suspended indefinitely.
Oh, well, see, this is changing when we're on here. See, I wasn't kidding. This is changing by the minute.
Because I know the suspension is kind of being looked at by he's the U.S. Olympic Committee spokesperson, Patrick Sandusky, was basically denying the report. But as it looks right now, it looks like the U.S. Olympic Committee is going to suspend him indefinitely.
I don't even know what to say. Like I said, we're getting new. Obviously, it's whatever Brazil wants. Listen, I'm sure it's going to be a fine and stuff. But I'm kind of almost upset that they let him leave the country. He should have stuck around. And because, it's a terrible thing to do. I mean, he made the host of the Olympics look bad. And I know. They have their problems. This was not the smoothest, Olympics in the world. I think we all know that. But there's no reason to lie like this. I don't understand his motivation. It's an embarrassment. And now, do you take away medals? I don't know. He was done with the competition, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much that matters with the medals. I mean, let's face it, any endorsement deals you were going to get, they're done, right? Do we agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's done. And, more, I guess, it's really an unfortunate thing. And it's an unfortunate thing to do to Brazil. I mean, you're invited there. You're a guest in their country. There's no reason to do this, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also to do this to his young teammates and basically try to make them to lie, which none of them really actually lied for Ryan Lochte also. So that was the interesting part tonight. I know Gunnar Bintz from the University of Georgia, and one of those swimmers who was with Lochte that night, said, I never lied to the federal police of Brazil. Ryan Lochte basically made it up, so that's developing today also. So that's pretty interesting. And I know Jimmy Finnegan, also another swimmer, part of that, went home today in Brazil. But transitioning from that story basically to, I know you're a wrestling fan, Scott, and SummerSlam's this weekend. So what's your make of this new draft, basically, and the new split from SmackDown and Raw? And what do you think of the new WWE, basically?
Well, I haven't been watching it as much as I have in the past recently, because I've been kind of, busy with work and I got a lot going. This has been a pretty busy sports summer in Stockton, huh? We've had a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's good.
It is.
But what I know of it, it's like, I like a couple of the SummerSlam matches, and I like having the network because when I get home Sunday night from work, I can cherry pick the matches I want to see. So maybe I answer by telling you what I'm going to bother to look at.
Okay.
I'm going to watch Orton and Lesnar, I think. That'll be fun. I'll watch AJ Styles and Cena. Is there anything else I'll go out of my way to see?
Sasha and Charlotte?
Sure.
I would suggest watching.
Sure, I mean that could be really that could be a very well wrestled women's match. So, sure, that'll be good. I guess they just added a 12-man tag team match today. I saw online, I think that was just to get everybody on the card. The people that you wanted to get on the card get on the card. So I don't know. It doesn't seem to have a lot of the SummerSlam doesn't seem to have a lot of panache to me.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose, another one, good one, and of course Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. Pierce was saying also.
Yeah, the Finn Balor. I don't watch a lot of NXT, so that would be interesting to watch it. And I forgot about Ambrose and Ziggler, which again could be a very good match.
Yeah,
but usually for SummerSlam, you have a little more star power. I know there was an early rumor they were going to try to do Shaq and Big Show.
They're actually going to do that.
I'm sure that would have been. I'm sure that wouldn't have been a classic scientific match, but that would have been at least really interesting. I don't know. Like I said, I'll watch it, at least a lot of it, but it's not. I don't think it's that great a card.
Okay, Scott, we'll let you go after this. I want to mention a hockey question real quick. The AHL Stockton Heat. There's a new team in the division real quick. I haven't talked to you since they made that announcement. What do you think about Tucson entering the American Hockey League?
I'm not surprised at all, but because I think you're going to get more. You're going to get more of a migration to to the West Coast. I mean, I think it's a good move. I mean, it's obviously a smart move for them. It puts them puts their AHL players very close to them. Except for San Jose, which they play in the same place, so that's pretty close. I mean, and Anaheim and San Diego are like an hour, right? Mm-hmm. But it's obviously a really good move, and I think you're going to have more of a migration out west, and like I said, it's been out there for a while, but it's what I expected. I almost expected more than one team might try it this year, make the move west. But I'm not surprised that they did, because I think most people thought they'd be the next to go. Yeah.
Scott, thank you for coming on tonight. Have a great weekend and enjoy UFC 202 and enjoy SummerSlam.
Thanks for coming
on,
Scott.
Let's do predictions.
Okay.
All right.
Do we have time for
we have predictions. Yeah,
you guys go first. I'll see if I want to copy it.
I'm taking Nate Diaz to win UFC 202. Just something, as you said earlier, I said this with Richard Reyes last night on air. I think McGregor's been too amped up for this fight, and I think Nate just been his same old cool, calm, and collected.
I wouldn't necessarily call it cool, calm, and collected, but that's just Nate's style. It's what he does. It's how he's used to this. I think he's used to all the talk because he does most of the talking to begin with. So I'm going to go with Nate as well. He really showed something in that last match. He got McGregor off his game, and I think he's got him more off his game. Like you said, during the weigh-ins, McGregor looked a lot better at that weight, but I just think Diaz is just the combination of his stand-up game, and he's a really underrated guy on the mat, so I think he's going to be able to counter the southpaw of McGregor a lot, so I'm going to take Nate Diaz in that one as well.
Do you think he stops him?
Oh, man, I do. I want to see Diaz catch him. I want to see McGregor fall. We'll call a second round. I'll call a second round knockout.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to call the draw. No, I'm kidding. Although they love a draw, they just do it again. No, I think like I said, I was sort of leaning against Nate until this week, and I might have it wrong, but I think it's going to take longer because I don't think. I mean, one of the many mistakes McGregor made last time was he came rushing out and decided he was going to end it quick, and he didn't have the power to do it. So I don't think you're going to have that charge across the ring as much. So I think it's going to take longer. But I think he catches him again. Eventually he's going to get to the ground. And when it does, I'm going to say it's going to go late third, early fourth. I think it's going to take a little while. And then I say, same ending. I'm feeling the same ending eventually. He gets him in the choke.
Well, that's Scott Linesburgh's prediction. Thank you, Scott, and I hope to talk to you next Friday night right here on KXVS Sports Tonight.
All right, guys, have a good weekend.
That's Scott Linesburgh. Thank you for joining us tonight on KXVS Sports Tonight. Pierce, when we come back, what's up next?
We're going to be talking some, let's go ahead and talk some Major League Baseball.
Oh, yeah, we just talked about Aaron Judge. We'll talk some Giants, though, and A's, and maybe little Dodgers, because they're against the Giants, and that's a pretty good contest right now. Back after this on KXVS Sports Tonight with Dustin and Pierce.
DJ Nikki D.
London Mark.
Alex.
And you can catch